Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be breaking down the current conditions, getting into that tropical activity, and also diving into some of that severe weather as well. Let's just get straight into things, and first things first, we're taking a look at our current radar imagery around the nation, and as you can see, we still have some of that storminess here over the central United States. We had a whole lot of severe weather up in the more northern, northwestern region than this region here. So things have kind of just moved further south and further eastward here. And now we're seeing some of that severe weather that's going to be going on throughout the day today. But we will dive into that later on, like I mentioned. We do have some showery activity left behind with this low pressure system, both for the Rockies and then up there for the upper Midwest and northern plains. This is going to be mostly in the form of rainfall. There is some snowfall, however, that you can see for Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana. No surprise there, really, though. There is just some isolated thunderstorm and showery activity going on down here for the Gulf states. And again, this is pretty typical. And then we have some showers moving across the region for the northeast. All right, now let's go ahead and dive into the northwest, where things are moving directly northward, almost northwestward, which is pretty rare. Usually this is not the flow that you see. Usually you see something like this, or perhaps something like this, but usually from west to east. This time it's from kind of like southeast to northwest, which is a very unusual flow of things for this region. Probably means some warmer temperatures also could be on the way. Now, we do see that there is some snowfall and rainfall going on here for the Rockies, mostly going to be in the form of rainfall for the lower elevation regions, and then obviously going to be mostly snowfall for the higher elevation regions. And in this case, it's the very, very high elevation regions, actually. As we move further northward, we can see the low is probably right around here, and that is creating this spin in here, and also this cold front down here that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But for now, you can mostly expect some showery activity for this region, both moderate and light showers with this, and possibly some headaches, obviously, with the low pressure overhead. So just expect that as well. That happens to me at least. We have some thunderstorm activity ongoing here from Kansas all the way up through Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, and Wisconsin. And these are going to be pretty potent thunderstorms, but I do expect them to get worse and worse as the day progresses, so keep that in mind as well, that we are expecting pretty bad thunderstorms a little bit later on. As we take a dive down south here, we can see that there is quite a bit of this showery activity just heading up into these regions, moving across just like this. This is pretty tropical, and you can expect some downpours, very, very brief downpours. Even some of these might start to flow this way. So expect that to be a pretty big possibility throughout the day today, as we can see that these are just around for the Gulf and even offshore of the southeast coast here for the Atlantic as well. Now, as we move up to the northeast, we can see that there is just these showers that are moving across the region here just like this. Keep that in mind, that we're going to see these moving through, mostly just impacting the state of Maine, but I bet these are going to start to impact northern New Hampshire here soon as well. So if you are in those north woods of New Hampshire, you can expect some of those showers to move through as well. All right, now what we're going to do here is we're going to move on, and we're going to begin to take a look at some modeled guidance. We're also going to take a look at the National Hurricane Center, where we have a massive update, and then the severe weather as well. Now, as we take a look at the upcoming pattern, we can see how intense this storm really looked as of last night. We were really taking a look at storms still in that area. As we move towards more this afternoon, we can see the lows up in Canada here. We do have this area, this thunderstorm area down here still for the upper Midwest and portions of the central plains, as well as some snow showers and rain showers around for that region as well. We do see these isolated showers coming off of the Gulf of Mexico there as well. And as we progress with this towards later this evening, we can see that we really get a line of stronger storms here for Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Michigan, and some surrounding states as well here, as we see this cold front really diving down, bringing colder air really in this direction as warm air is surging out ahead for this area there. That's kind of the look that we're taking a look at this point. Now, as we move towards Wednesday, June 1st afternoon, we can see a lot of these storms are for this region, so it kind of stretches out and continues its track further south and further east here. We're seeing a lot of these states get involved by Wednesday, June 1st. Now for Thursday, June 2nd, we see this moves even further southward. So this is a cold front that is very slowly progressing. We honestly sometimes call these stationary fronts when they're not even really moving at all. But this one seems to be moving very slightly. So it will be more of the cold front winning out in this case. And honestly, before, if you watched us a couple of days ago, we were talking about how the models were trending at a stationary front, really setting up over one spot. It does seem to move a little bit more now southerly, so that cold air does win out eventually. We could even see by Friday into Saturday, we can see it's all the way down here with this activity. Notice this is our tropical cyclone down there, about to hit Florida, and by Saturday, June 4th, we likely will have a tropical system over Florida bringing potential flooding, very, very heavy rainfall. And this is going to track dangerously close to the coast here, okay? This is going to be a very close call right there. So let's watch this play out. Look at how close that comes to North Carolina and Virginia there. Just a little bit of a trend eastward, or westward better yet, and we're going to have a pretty impactful situation for the southeast coast as well if this does end up happening this way. So we really need to track this one for many different folks. We do have another storm system moving on to the northwest as well, with some activity going on here for a lot of the central United States. As we approach Monday, June 6th, we see that a lot of this activity in here is still going on. We see this area here really intensifying our tropical system, 977 millibar low pressure center by Monday, June 6th. June 7th, we see a lot of storminess throughout these areas. June 8th, which is going to be a Wednesday, we see a low move into here, and we still see a lot of this activity up here. And then for Thursday, June 9th, we see a lot of these southern areas actually getting most of the activity. And then let's see, that's about the end of the model run. We have a bit of a ridge in the west, a bit of a trough in the east, but this is very flat in general. This isn't dramatically ridging or troughing anywhere. And I think we can expect rather hot weather for the first 10 days of June for most everywhere, west and east and central, south and north, everywhere. All right. So let's take a look at the precipitation over the next 10 days. And it's important to note if you're in the whites, you're expecting basically no precipitation. Anywhere in the grays will be about 1/10 of an inch or less. Greens will be 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Blues will be 1/2 an inch to an inch. Yellows will be 1 inch to 2 inches. Reds will be 2 to 5 inches. And then your browns are going to be your 5 to 10 inches of precipitation. Then for your blues, they're going to be 10 to 15 inches of precipitation, but we're not really seeing any of those. We're mostly seeing the 5 to 10 inch amounts there from the Yucatan Peninsula all the way up through Florida and very, very close to the southeast coast there with that tropical system. Again, a couple of big trends to the west, and we're going to see this really bring those impacts on shore as far as rainfall is concerned with a more minor tropical system. For total rainfall over the next 10 days, look at how small these amounts are getting now. We're really moving towards the summer, and in a couple of days, probably, we're not even going to really have to use this map any longer, which is going to be pretty sad, but we're going to start using it again likely in September, so only a few months without it. And as you can see, if you're anywhere in the grays, you're expecting a dusting. If anything, blue will be 2 to 6 inches of snowfall, purples will be 6 to 10, pinks will be 10 to 20, and then your pastels will be 20 inches plus. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to move on. We're going to take a look at the upcoming temperature pattern. So here is the upcoming temperature pattern as we're reaching the high temperatures today. As you can see, again, we have this flow from the south here. I was mentioning that probably means warmer temperatures. Look at that. We have warmer temperatures there for the western seaboard. But really, as you head a little bit further inland, we have a ton of cold bottled up here, and then a ridge here for the east, causing warm temperatures to really trend in for today. And as we reach Wednesday, June 1st, we see the warm temperatures on the west coast trend in even further. We have this trough here, and then a ridge there for the east coast, kind of a horseshoe pattern is what I call this. And as we approach Thursday, June 2nd, we still have the hot temperatures for the southeast, but this cold air is really getting close, just like that. And by the time we reach Friday, June 3rd, we have some warm temperatures in here, but really the cold is approaching rapidly, even though it's not as potent anymore. And then by Saturday, June 4th, we have near normal conditions for most of the eastern United States, as I've just made a mess all over the map. Let's see. Sunday, June 5th, we see these warm temperatures really trying to surge in, and I think they're going to take back over here for the east. Cold air is trying to recycle back to the west. So we're seeing more of that activity kind of start up again. And then Monday, we can tell the trend is just warming in the east here, and then cool air heading back west. This seems to be what's happening here. Tuesday, we get the warm air all the way up the east coast, but what's happening here is this cold air is trying to turn back around and turn back into a cold front potentially for these areas. I think this is when we see the stormy weather return. Yeah, same thing. So we're seeing this frontal boundary set up in here, and we have a lot of warm air in the southeast again, kind of like what we're dealing with here coming up. but that is going to crash through, and we're going to see this trough kind of take over for the eastern United States. The thing to note here is that anywhere in the blues, you're looking at minimal, differences here in your temperatures, about maybe up to 10 degrees below normal, which would be kind of significant, but not too bad. The greens is mostly where it's going to be a very noticeable difference from your average temperature, I would say. And that's about the end of the model run. So what we're going to do here is we are going to take a look at the tropical status here of this tropical disturbance. So first things first, we're taking a look at our velocity here. And the European model is continuing to be the more aggressive model. It takes this storm up into here, and we're going to see it just take the storm just like this, which is about a worst case scenario track. So let's continue on with this because it heads a little bit further north than my line there. But it hits Florida directly on the west coast of Florida, Tampa Bay area, direct hit, crosses back over, and then it actually becomes a much stronger storm offshore of the southeast and skirts by North Carolina and South Carolina and Virginia. And again, if this continues to trend westward, we might be looking at an even more impactful situation. Now, what's amazing is when we look at the GFS model, the differences here. So we take a look here, and really we never see something get its act together. I think it moves to about here. So it kind of takes a similar track, but it just heads out to sea. It never does anything like what the European model shows. So we still have some pretty major disagreement, which is amazing as we're moving closer and closer to this storm. Now what we're going to do is look at the satellite imagery here of this storm currently. All right, now here is the storm currently, and as you can see, versus yesterday, this storm has dramatically broken up, and it's actually about, right now, it's about right here, I would say. Right about there, and it's gone ahead and moved up like this, and it's going to continue to move over land. We don't expect it to really move over water anymore. It's going to continue to move over land, and it's not going to intensify for quite a while, so that's definitely worth noting. Now, for some of the spaghetti model guidance, here is our European ensemble model guidance. So we see that a lot of the members trend it just in this direction, just like what the main European model showed. So somewhere in here is the main area where we're watching for this storm to track through. There is a couple of these members that take it back over water, I will say, so that is a possibility at this point. If that happens, and what I'm talking about is mainly this area here, so this initial area where it could move back over water earlier, this would cause the storm to begin to get more intensity before it moves over this region, because the other solution would be it continuing to move over land and not getting to water till about here. The colors do mean something. The blues are stronger storms than the greens. So the interesting thing is that you notice none of these ones actually over here that track over land ever become blue. They stay green, which means they stay a weaker low pressure system. But multiple of these over here that actually go over water earlier, that don't head over the Yucatan Peninsula, actually become very strong low pressure systems in the 990s very early on. And I think that's certainly worth mentioning there on the spaghetti model guidance. Here's some more spaghetti model guidance. This is kind of your, this is a different source, but this is all individual different models. And you can see there still is a couple here that take it over water, but there's also a few that take it way, way through Mexico and into the Yucatan Peninsula, and then eventually hitting Florida here. But the general consensus is that, every single one of these has it actually hitting Florida there, basically. Except for these ones that are too short range. But these ones that are long range actually do have this one hitting the state of Florida, which is certainly worth noting. Here's the intensity guidance here for Tropical Storm Agatha. It's now Tropical Storm Agatha. It was Hurricane Agatha. And we can see that this is going to drop like a rock, obviously, because it's over land, below tropical storm status. But a lot of these models have it regaining that tropical storm status. And even a couple of them have it really approaching Category 1 status way later on. This is like 5 days out here. So this is a while. This is basically around the time it's hitting Florida or even after. But some of these continue to trend it further up towards hurricane status, and some of them have it dropping back down to basically nothing. So there's a lot of different scenarios that can take place. Now here's the graphical tropical weather outlook for the next 5 days, and we have taken a massive leap here. We now see a 60% chance of development over the next 5 days, as you can see. So the National Hurricane Center is really keying in on this storm. And it has a 10% chance over the next 2 days, actually. So over the next 48 hours, there is a slim chance that we could see this one begin to develop. And I think that's if it crosses over water sooner, probably, is what they're taking into account. But definitely over the next 5 days, once it's over water, there's certainly that chance, that 60% chance, so more than half chance that basically it's going to develop here and approach Florida. So we're really needing to watch this one. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to move on and take a look at our severe weather. Now, here's the day one categorical outlook, and we have 3 general thunderstorm risks there in the lighter green areas, and that's where we expect general thunderstorms. No surprise there. Severe weather is possible anywhere, so keep in mind to heed every watch, warning, and advisory as always, even if you're in the general thunderstorm risk area or even if you're in the white area. I've seen it happen before, so you're definitely going to want to just pay attention regardless. In the 2 darker green regions, we have a marginal risk of severe weather, which means isolated severe weather is expected to be possible. The yellow area there from Texas all the way up through Michigan is going to be our slight risk region, and that is where scattered severe weather is possible. And then our orange region there for Texas, Oklahoma, and in through Kansas is where we have an enhanced risk of severe weather, where we expect widespread severe weather to take place today on Tuesday, May 31st. Now for the individual outlooks here, first off, our wind outlook, we have a 5% chance within 25 miles of a given location there within all the green regions. Keep in mind, this is all based on 25 miles of a given location. And then we have a 15% chance there within the yellows. For hail, things are looking a little bit more elevated here. We have a 5% in the green, 15% in the yellow, and then a 30% chance there within the red, and even a hatched area there for Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, where we expect particularly large hail to be possible. Now for tornadoes, we have 2 separate areas of 2% chance and 2 separate areas of 5% chance. So a pretty concerning tornado day potentially as well. And then for day 2, we have 4 general thunderstorm risks there in the lighter greens, again, where no severe weather is expected, but anything is possible. The darker green region there is our marginal risk of severe weather, where we expect isolated severe weather to take place. And then the 2 yellow regions there is our slight risk areas of severe weather, and that's where we expect scattered severe weather to take place. For day 3 here, which is going to be for Thursday, June 2nd, we have 2 general thunderstorm risks in the lighter greens, 2 marginal risks there in the darker greens, where again isolated severe weather seems to be possible, and then the yellow area there for the mid-Atlantic is going to be our slight risk area, where we expect scattered severe weather to be possible. Anyway, guys, for today's confidence tab, we are once again remaining at a 4 out of 6. That tropical activity is just so tricky, and I cannot wait to know more because it really has just been a really tricky situation. For today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons, Bill Crates, James Wade, Dovin Nagel, Larry LePan, Mandy Birchfield, Patrick Strickland, Dave Scott, and Donna Carnes as well. I'd also like to thank our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Hart, Michael Kudalasa, Catbite, Charles Stitt, Bill Dallas Garys, and John Khaleesi also. I'd also like to thank our channel members, Catbite, Stephen Fan, and Jeremy Cox as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.